All right, everybody, super pumped up. We've got the one and only Jeremy Forcier. I do want to say a couple notes before we just get after it here, Jeremy, but before this, I know we've got a Jeremy Forcier playlist, but take a guess how many videos are in the Jeremy Forcier playlist.
23.
64, bro.
Nice.
And I guarantee we've missed a few. Like there's probably a few times that we haven't added the tag, but if you just can't get enough of J-Force, there is a playlist, and it is got the most videos of any other leader in our channel. And consistently, when I am coming up with like, hey, who are the top 10? Who are the top 20? Jeremy's not in there once. He's always in there multiple times. So, dude, you made the top 10 for all 7 years that we've had a top 10 list. You've been in the list. So thank you, man.
Awesome. Happy to be here. Thanks, dude.
Good. And I got a couple goals. One, I'm hoping that this conversation will be one of the most viewed videos of 2023. So we're going to make this a top 10 of 23. Are you game for that?
I'm game.
All right. So let's get after it. I want this to be a kickoff for anyone that wants to gain market share and be their best in 23. I want to know how you're approaching this year. Like, what's your mentality? Coming off of a rough year of 22, what's your mentality coming into this year? And then let's roll into what is your Realtor Playbook to win?
Love it. That's great. So my mentality this year is really, really simple. And it's just defined by a few different words. One is growth, two is uniformity, and three is fun. So growth, uniformity, fun. So when I'm looking at everything, when I made my goals and, I actually redid my goals. So I think this is important for everyone to know. If you have made goals, let's say maybe you made them in November or even December. I made mine kind of early, rough draft last year. And I looked at them last week and I was like, this isn't really in alignment, especially with like the 6 megatrends. And it took those megatrends, Dave, thank you for that article. And I really dove back into the goals and I was like, how can all this stuff apply to the megatrends as well? And I ended up redoing a lot of them. So I came up with growth, I came up with uniformity, making sure that my processes are tight and they're uniform from anyone on my team. I'm not doing things different ways for different people, and that I have a process that anyone can plug into and have a great experience. And then I want to have fun again. I didn't have fun like the last 5 months. I just didn't. I mean, I had fun here and there, but it wasn't like the fun that I'm used to having in my business, working in my business with my relationships. It was way more therapist than it was fun. Right. And it's fun when you're getting therapy sometimes, like the outcome of it. But when you're giving it constantly, I got to tell you, I got respect for therapists. It's exhausting and it's not that fun. So I'm looking to get back to those three basic words are what are going to define and drive all my decisions this year. And I think it's great for all of you to come up with a word, a statement, a few words that will define your year as well. And then use them as a filter when you're looking at saying yes to something or saying no to something. Like, does it fit my filter moving forward with what I'm focused on this year? So yeah, that's what's up this year for me, man. Growth, fun, uniformity, and just using that as a filter for everything that I do.
Cool. So I'm going to unpack that in a minute. And I want to remind the community, if you've got questions for Jeremy, like he loves the freestyle. So put your
100%.
Maybe we'll get him to make a song before the call is over. So I really want to call out the fact that he edited those. And while I came up with the 6 megatrends, guys, when I wrote the article, and I put a lot of time into this article, and those 5 trends weren't what I thought were good ideas. It was like, I looked at all, scanned all of the interviews I did last year. I looked at like, hey, what were the top 10? What interesting. A lot of articles, a lot of things on scripts. Everything had to do with realtors. Interesting, guys. That was different than the 2 years before, where it was like volume years. And so there was very different top videos. And then I go, what, let's look at the top 20. And then I went, how many of those people are doing 100 million in volume? Not everyone did. And I go, and then what are the common themes of all those? And I put a lot of time into it. By the way, guys, I had 5 megatrends. And I somehow left out first-time home buyers, which is like, there's an argument to say that should be the biggest megatrend at all.
Yeah.
So there's 6 megatrends. And by the way, there are probably more, but I want you guys, first of all, everybody's got to edit their plan. Like it's
Yep.
second week in January. Hopefully you're watching the content we're creating. That I don't know if you saw the interview with Sean Kaplan. Did you happen to see what
Yeah. Yep.
dude, like
Yeah.
that edited some things. Like, look at how this dude is coming into the year and he's creating super hyper local, hyper personal. He actually recorded the video out in front of, this 20-year relationship. He's been trying to get business for 20 years from this 100 home a year builder. And he went and did a video in front of one of the homes that the guy's trying to sell. And he literally is taking it to a whole new level of how he's going to help that builder get over one of the top problems. So I want everyone fresh slate. You've worked on your plan. Now let's see what else Jeremy's got. So Jeremy,
I love it.
Where do you want to go from here? We can unpack those 3 words. I know we'll get into realtor scripts and all that.
Yeah.
Maybe the second half we get really tactical.
Sure.
Do you want to unpack those 3, or do you want to share any other, because you're a coach, you coach a lot of loan officers.
Yeah.
What are some central themes that you're coming into with the people that you're coaching?
Yep. So first and foremost, I've had the awesome opportunity to coach Sean Kaplan twice over the last 10 years. And that dude is so on fire and on point right now. And I want to make sure that I point out that the video that Dave's talking about that he did for this builder, he literally is friends with this person. Like he literally really knows the person and he wanted to get business from them, hasn't really landed it before. And by doing the simple, super personal things was able to get an opportunity. So that's a big takeaway for everyone. And that is a core focus in my business too, is getting super personal. We'll get into those tactics later, Dave, as I've been playing with some different ways to make sure that I'm not just doing one-to-many, but that I'm getting really personal with the people that I do want to be in relationship with, because relationships have all different levels. And right now, I think that we can grow a ton by really focusing on the ones that we do want to work with and building a more personal relationship with them. It can be one in the same, right? Business and personal, and it's the easiest way to make a connection. So let's start with growth, Dave. If you want to, yeah.
I want to just put another explanation on something you just said. I was on a stage a couple of days ago. It was a mastermind, and in the last 15 minutes, it was really good Q&A. And one of the people that was in that mastermind was a real estate agent, baller, top producing real estate agent, has been in business for 20 years, and on December 20th had 3 escrows fall out. She's like, this has never happened to me in my entire career. And she listened to my presentation. I talked about the 6 trends. And she goes, you know what I just thought of? She goes, all the lenders that I've been doing business with for years, I've been doing this for 20 years, very successful. I'm not doing business with them anymore. She goes, you know what I'm doing business with? I'm doing business with people and loan officers that know how to get deals into escrow and get them to close. And she said, now, 2 of the 3 deals that have fallen out, one's coming back, one, no one could have saved it. But one of them, it's because I have a new relationship who's a mortgage coach and who knows how to do that. And, she was just making up the names, that solution, she called the 2-1 buy down and the option TCA. She called it the solution report or something. It was funny, hearing a realtor talk. She goes, but my new borrower or my new loan officer who knows how to do the solution report, she goes, I'm working with all new people. So it's just an explanation of what you said and what Sean did. It was like 2 stories in the same week that, like, guys, every realtor in America, it's a fresh slate and you could be their loan officer. So anyways, jump back at it.
No, it's 100% true, man. I mean, here's a staggering statistic when I looked at last year's closings, is that 50% of the agents that I closed an escrow or more with last year, 50%, okay, it was 51.8 or some BS like that, but 50% were new relationships for me. 50%, over 50%, right? 50% were new relationships. Now, I was discouraged when I first looked at that and was like, man, I need to re-engage, previous relationships. But being in a data-driven kind of world as a mega trend, which is one of yours, Dave, that you came up with, I went back and looked at like the data on the other agents, et cetera, that I am in relationship with. The reality is they're just cold right now. So that means they do need more leadership. They're closing listings, people moving out of the area, whatever, relocating, trust sales, et cetera, stuff like all cash buyers. There wasn't really a lot of opportunities for me with a lot of those people. So that's why it's so important to always prospect new relationships. It's not because you want to get rid of relationships that you currently have. It's because people go in streaks. People go on hot streaks, they go on cold streaks. And I think that this industry last year put a lot of us on cold streaks, myself included, right? I had a really rough October, November. December came out really strong. January looks okay. But it's just going to keep building. But we all go through hot and cold streaks. So that was very eye-opening to me as well, is that new relationships were winning for me last year versus older relationships where people were just in a cold season. And that could be for a number of reasons, by the way. There's plenty of people that I've worked with for a long time that were just like, hey, I'm going to take a little break. The last 2 years have been crazy. That's real. We could crap on it and make fun of that and go, no, you got to keep going. But some people needed a break. It's just the truth. They went through an insane pace for a couple years that they were not used to, got really uncomfortable, got tired, got burnt out, me included, right? And needed some time to go ahead and recharge. So it doesn't mean that you ignore your old relationships, but new relationships that made up over 50% of my transactions is definitely something that's important for you all to know and to look in your database as well. Like, where are the actual closings come from? Not the leads, where are the closings coming from? Because it's the same exact idea that realtor shared with you, Dave, of saying the solution. I want to work with people who are going to close transactions at the end of the day, not just start conversations, but close transactions. So we need to be solution providers for sure. We need to be leading realtors more than ever, in my opinion, on strategies and what works and how they can get people not so much excited about the home buying process, but get really clear about their home buying process. That's the uniformity part, right? For me, is get really clear, not excited, but clear, because excitement works two different ways. If we get people excited all the time, they're excited about an idea, but that doesn't mean that they're excited about what's actually going to happen. And when they go into it, if it's different, if the excitement doesn't match up with the ease of the process or with the expectations that were set forward, you're going to have people that have major buyer's remorse and that are freaked out in the middle of a transaction, and they're not going to be able to hold it together. So we have to make sure that we're unbelievably clear with people, that we're leading them towards not just getting into escrow and being quote unquote excited about it, but really clear expectations on strategy, how we're going to implement it, and how exactly we're going to close escrow with as little stress as possible. Those are so important moving forward for me.
I want to make sure everybody heard that point around, it's not about getting people excited. I think it's never been more important that you're really pacing the people you're with emotionally. And I can only say, when I see a lot of loan officers on social media, sometimes they're just like being a little tone deaf at selling, it's all going to be okay. Tell me, how do you feel about, how are you showing up different? Just hearing you talk, it sounds like you've always been a data-driven mortgage advisor, but it sounds like you're really growing as a data-driven mortgage advisor. Any leadership beyond the data, how to emotionally show up with people in this market? Or is it the same as you've always been doing?
It is not the same. Okay, so it is not the same. So no, I am showing up subdued, a subdued version of Jeremy. And what I mean by that is I'm still me, of course, right? But when you're talking to people, and if you have to ask them, what is your number one concern with purchasing this house? So that's a new quote unquote script line that I've added into my initial calls with leads is, hey, what's your biggest concern? I usually never ask about concerns, right? Ask about objectives, payment budget, target price if they have one, what areas are they interested in? But now I've added in, hey, what's your number one concern, right, about doing this right now? And that's a subdued question, meaning you're going to be more relatable to them and they're going to tell you what the problem is. So 9 out of 10 people, when I ask that question, and this is specifically towards first-time home buyers, just so you know, 9 out of 10 of them are saying that they're really concerned about affordability, right? They're really concerned about the monthly payment, about getting overextended, about getting ahead of themselves just to buy a house. Are they still buying at the top of the market, even though prices are down about 10% where I live? Okay, prices are down locally about 10% off the peaks. So is there still room for it to go down? Is that a bad decision? So when people are giving you that type of information and data, I have to be more subdued in my energy and excitement about the opportunities for them, because you need to address the fears first so that then you can move towards them being excited. And they don't get excited because you're selling them something. They get excited because you're going to actually talk about their fears and that they're valid. So there's a great acronym for L.O.V.E. And I think I learned this in the Amplify book, actually, when I read it. Okay, so L.O.V.E is really simple, right? L is listen, and you have to do them in this order, by the way, right? We have to listen better than ever, right? Listen better than ever. O in L.O.V.E stands for observe, right? We have to observe better than ever. What is their body chemistry if you're in person with them or on Zoom? What are the words that they're using? Are they saying a lot? Are they pausing between statements because they're thinking? Do they seem nervous? You have to observe their behavior. And then V in L.O.V.E is for validate. That's where we have a huge opportunity to validate their fears rather than saying, listen, I don't think you have anything to be worried about. The market's going to recover. We're going to refinance you. Validate first, right? Yes, that is a super valid concern. I think that budgeting is super important when you're going into this. And I don't want you to make a bad decision either. So we'll make sure that you make a good one when we analyze this data. Okay, validate their feelings first. Then E in L.O.V.E is for engage. That's when you get to engage with strategies, with opinions, with no pressure, by the way. That's something I've added into my conversations with people, is that we can move as fast or as slow as you want. There is really no pressure on our side. We just want you to be ready to make a great decision whenever the opportunity presents itself. And it doesn't matter to my team if that's in 3 days, 3 months, or 3 years. But starting now is going to put you in that great position. So simple things like that, Dave, and I love using the L.O.V.E acronym to remind me, and I've been teaching that to my loan officers and sharing it with other people, that you can't do it out of order. You can't engage first with all the excitement and what this market is when you know that there's fear, you know there's concern, you know there's questions. Don't engage first, listen first, observe behavior, then validate how they feel. Then you can go into the engagement, AKA solutions to those anxieties, to those issues.
Expand. I think expand.
I wrote down engage is what I have written down. But maybe it's expand. If it's his, mine's different then. If it's his expand, mine's engage, right? Because
Jeremy, we're all taking like these things. But by the way, guys, everybody write down the L.O.V.E acronym. I will look it up because this is one of the most, like when I went to go see Renee for the first time, it was like, how can I become a better speaker from stage? How can I have more influence? And, I knew he was going to give me feedback on my arm gestures. I knew he was going to be beating me up on my ums and on my ahs. But guys, I came out of it a better listener. Like that L.O.V.E was one of the biggest secret weapons that I pulled from that 2-day workshop. And Jeremy's right. Like when it comes to winning with consumers and really helping them make the best decisions for themselves, and when it comes to winning with agents, like, guys, we need to show up. I never had heard the word toxic positivity until last year.
Me too.
I never heard that word. Like when someone said it, I'm like, oh yeah, I could get how that's a thing, but I'd never heard those two words put together. But then after I heard it and I thought about it and I studied it, I'm like, one, I do that sometimes, and wow.
So Dave, I was just gonna say, I did the same thing. Like I heard it, and at first I tried to dismiss it, which usually means that I'm guilty of it, right? I was like, toxic positivity, give me a break. And then I looked into it a little more, and I had the same. I was like, oh God, I should probably pay attention to this. I think I'm super guilty of this, like a lot.
Yeah, no, and we are as an industry, guys. And I want to show you something because I want to make sure if we want to kill it with realtors, which I know I want to help you guys do that. You need to be like, I didn't just call it like, oh, become a data-driven loan officer. I put the data-driven advice era. Like it's a new period of time. In my 37 years in the mortgage business, rates have just gone down. Like I got in at 10.2 at 2 points. And like there's been a couple of years where they were flat. There's been a few years where they were up. But I mean, it's just been this walking downhill my whole career. So guys, but here's a new reality. Like, look at this. 63% of homes have a rate less than 4. And 23 have a rate less than 3, but that's 2%. So we are in a new era. Realtors are in a new era that they've never been in before. Like these are some realities. Here's the Keeping Current Matters version of what I just showed you. Here's a version that we have at Mortgage Coach. And so like, what does this mean? This means you're gonna, in order to really be a valuable partner to realtors, guys, having great rates, closing loans on time, those are like table stakes. Being an advisor that can meet with a homeowner that's got a 2 or a 3% loan and help them, you know what? You could rent that out and look at how much faster you can build your net worth and achieve financial freedom. Or, you know what? Selling that, but look at how much faster you can achieve financial freedom. And guys, there's a lot of equity and there's a lot of consumer debt. It's consumer debt skyrocketing. Being able to show up to a family, whether they're a first-time home buyer, move-up buyer, they're equity rich and cash flow poor, and data, advice, like guys, it's a whole new era. We are in a different era in the industry. What are your thoughts on that, Jeremy?
My thoughts are is that it's a home run. Let me give you a great example. Okay, so this is a real scenario last week that happened. First time home buyer, check the box. First time home buyer. That's going to be probably 80% of my business. I am predicting this year. Okay, 80% of my business will be first time home buyers. I look at the lead for the last 4 months, 91% first time home buyers. Okay, so hey, if that's showing me that that's what it's going to be, that's most likely what it's going to be, unless something significantly changes in the next six months. So based on that, last week, talking to a first-time home buyer, have a payment budget that they come up with, right, which is basically $400 more than what their current payment is for rent, right? We did notice when we looked at everything that they have $1,100 a month in debt payments between credit cards, cars, you name it, student loans, etc. Right? So really, they're already paying $1,100 more, right, than what it is right now. So when we went through the analysis, this is where advice comes into play. They were so scared about having a higher mortgage payment, but showing them that, hey, if we just put 5% down instead of the 10% down, and we pay off the debt with the other 5%, your affordability goes way up because you're already paying $2,300 a month right now, right? You're already paying $2,300 a month right now between your rent and between doing things like that and having a light bulb go off for a consumer. And then guess what? They got excited on their own, not because I got them excited, because I got to show could afford essentially the same exact purchase price that they wanted to buy, which they thought they could not afford because the payment was too high, by just readjusting the down payment and where the cash is going to go. Free up $1,100 a month with a simple $23,000, right, payoff of debt, and then putting less down and showing them how that affects their monthly payment from a cash flow perspective, not just a mortgage perspective. So that's a great example of showing them how to do that. Now, Dave, of course, we always need to make sure that we are looping in realtors on this. So you have to do a TCA, of course, when you're showing them this. You have to include the realtor. You have to have a video on it. And then you have to follow up with the agent to make sure they watched it, understand it, and so they can have those same type of conversations, not only with that buyer, but with other buyers as well. Super important that we make sure that everyone understands the strategies so they can go out and educate and become part of your sales force as well with other people on the streets.
So Jeremy, I want to flip. We're almost at halftime, so I want to get into playbook for realtors. But I
Let's do
feel
it.
everything that we're saying, guys, right now, these are all the skills, the mindset, the who you need to be in order to step into, cold calling realtors, getting meetings, being valuable. Like if you're not a data-driven mortgage professional, if you're not turning your database into a data bank, if you don't understand that the real world has been redefined, and that, the real world is physical and digital, and to be able to deliver that, I'm in person at the right time, I'm digital. If you don't understand, hey, there's an expanded marketplace. There are baller loan officers that have moved and they're living in different markets and they're still killing it. Or like Jeremy, he went from driving 1 hour to 2 hours. He's got a Tesla, he's got a smart car. And, if you don't understand all those things, you can't win with realtors. It's like, you're not going to have the gas. So before we do that, what are the top TCA strategies that you think people need to master? Sounds like the rent versus own is one
Rent
of the,
versus own.
and then what else?
Yep.
What are the top 3, top 5, like you need to be a ninja at X? What are they?
Yep. So number 1, rent versus own, as you said. Okay. Number 2 for me is making sure that I understand how to present buy down strategies, period. Right. So I'm doing more TCAs where I'm showing, here's if you don't do a buy down strategy, here's a 3-2-1 buy down, here is a 2-1 buy down, and here's a 1-0 buy down paid by myself, the lender, if we can't get a credit. So I'm doing multiple buy down strategies for people and showing them that you can still buy down even if you can't negotiate a credit, because that's a big objection in my market sometimes, is, hey, if we're going under ask or they've already lowered the price, we're not going to get a credit. They've already told us, they're not giving a credit. We'll figure out how to do a 1-0 buy down strategy with it being lender paid, right? Figure that out and know how to present that information. I think it's extremely important to master buy down strategies. Of course, the seller permanent buy down as well. I think that would be a third one. And showing them all to someone is really important, because if you're saying you need a $15,326 credit, for example, to get a 3-2-1 buy down, but they only end up giving you 10K. Well, now you already said, hey, look, we only need 8,900, right, for the 2-1 buy down, so we can execute that. So what you're doing is you're setting really good expectations with the TCA on, we're going to try for this. Hey, if that doesn't work, we get X, then we can go to the 2-1. If that doesn't work, we can still go to the 1-0 buy down. Right. So I think that that's really important for people to master if affordability is an issue for the client. And that's different than affordability to qualify. So if affordability, meaning what they want to pay monthly, but they're very qualified, which is a lot of people I'm talking to right now, debt to income is like 29, right, from a housing perspective, but they're still like, hey, that's $800 too much a month and I actually want to pay. They're being conscious about the payments, which I think is a good thing. So that would be how to pitch someone like that. Now, from an affordability standpoint, which would be the seller buy down, permanent buy down, that would be for qualifying purposes. If someone doesn't qualify for the $500,000 home, they only qualify for 420. How do we show them by using a seller buy down strategy that they can qualify for more? So those are 3 that I'm using a ton. A 4th that I'm doing a lot of right now as well is just different. And this isn't different than what I've ever done, this 4th one. It's just showing people different purchase prices, right? Different purchase prices in one TCA, different purchase prices in one TCA. And then also showing them number 5, which isn't different, and I'll always do this, is showing them a wide range of interest rates, right? So when rates were going up, I was showing them, hey, here's 5.5, here's 6.25, and here's 6.99, right? Like if the rates keep going up earlier on last year, so that they have an idea of what they could go up to. Well, we went over that, right? And then now I'm doing the opposite, right? Here's 6.99, here's 6.25, here's 5.5. If rates continue to go down, this is how the interest rates impact your payments. So paying attention to trends and then inserting that into the TCAs are important. So rent versus own, the buy down strategies, 3-2-1, 2-1, and 1-0 lender paid, right? The seller buy down strategy, different price points with down payments that they are approved to. And then, of course, different interest rates on a declining scale. Those are the 5 most used TCAs I'm doing right now.
And how would you describe, and what category would I put date the rate, marry the house? Because you're showing that, or is that just you do that with everything? Like that's just like wrapped up around everything.
It's a great question. So I do that in almost everything on all of those. So I'll give you an example. If I'm showing a 2-1 buy down, I might show 6.75% in the first column, which is what the rate. I have, by the way, I'm in Mexico. I have no idea what the rates are right now, but let's just say they're 6.75 today. Okay, at no points, I have no idea. So I show them 6.75, right, and then in the second column, I'll show them the 2-1 buy down if they can get the credit, right? Year 1. So here, and then year 2, I'll show them the second year of the buy down, which would be 5.75 in this scenario. Then in the fourth column, I'm always going to show here's what the anticipated rate is, right? In the end of the second, beginning of the third quarter, 2023. I'm using 4.5% personally. It doesn't matter what you use, just don't use like 2.2, right? And you're showing like what people are thinking a target interest rate is going to be. So I'm doing that on all of them, whether it's a 2-1, whether it's a 1-0, whether it's different price points. I'm adding a column at the end that shows that. And that's increasing my stickiness with people through the roof, like through the roof. Because what rate do you think they always focus on, Dave?
The lowest.
Always. It's always, no matter what. All logic thrown out the door, that's the one that they focus on. So you have to be truthful in your presentation to people. You can't use it as a sales tactic, but it is a great tactic to get them to pay attention, right, to what you're saying within the education. So yes, Dave, I'm including the whole, I stopped saying, date the rate, marry the mortgage. I'm doing that a little bit here and there for people that need extra clarification on it, but I am showing them that for sure, that they are going to have an opportunity to refinance in the future, and that should be part of their strategy when they are actually making offers, considering a purchase price that might be a little bit more than what they wanted to buy right now.
All right, guys. So, and I'm not going to ask a lot more questions on that because Jeremy had one of the top 20 videos of the year: date the rate, marry the home, divorce rent, and he gives scripting around that. I do want to remind everyone, if you want to know what today's rates are, if you look at the Rate Watch app, we have an indices here. This is actual Optimal Blue. So if you're actually in the advice engine, we've got Optimal Blue's mortgage indices. So I just want to remind you guys that is a feature. Whatever the most recent, last Tuesday's interview is here. Dan Arawich's commentary is always here. That's like built into the advice system. So just as a little reminder, guys, I want to show you where some Easter eggs were. So one last challenge, and then we're just going to totally focus on the playbook. How many realtors you call on? What are you saying?
Yeah.
But one more challenge. I'm going to recommend we put buy down as the number one, because even when you're doing the rent versus own, you're showing buy down strategies.
I'm showing buy down on all the rent versus own. Yeah.
So for everyone listening, for every branch manager, you should be making sure that when it comes to your loan officers winning with agents, your loan officers helping put homes into escrow that stay into escrow, they are ninjas. It's showing 2-1 buy down, 3-1 buy down, seller buy down. You're dating the rate. And like, if you can't have that conversation with move-up buyers, first-time home buyers, with anyone and everyone, like, you're at a competitive disadvantage. And by the way, you are not a data-driven mortgage advisor, period. Like, you may think you are, but you're not. Like, if you can't do what Jeremy just said, you're still a traditional loan officer that's leaning on close the rates on time, close the loans on time. I've got great rates, and you like me. But I'm telling you right now, if you want to replace and recruit, replace some loan officers and recruit some realtors, that is the way. Anything else you want to add before we rock out some scripts around realtors and what you're showing to realtors?
Yeah, no, I'd say if I was going to add anything, just an opportunity. So, is that there's a lot of people that are going into new home build, right now mode, like meaning new home developments, right? And a lot of the lenders, and if you're a new home builder, I am not capping on you saying this. There's a lot of bad loan officers in the industry, period, right? When I say bad, don't think one step ahead, right? So I'm noticing this as a trend though in my pipeline of people going into new home builds, and I'm getting the call because they won't accept the offer if it's contingent upon the sale of their home, and they're not qualifying the people without selling their home. They're just saying you can't do it, right? That's where your down payment comes from. So that's a big one I would look into, is with on-site builders, et cetera, to, hey, if you do have anyone that can't qualify, it's contingent, right? They want to be contingent, but you won't allow them to. I've got 2 into escrow just in the last week and a half of it, from a really simple strategy. One was a product that we have. The other was just getting a line of credit set up on their, current home, using as a down payment, and they qualified. It wasn't complicated, right? So that's a strategy I just want to throw out there to you all, is that going after salespeople at builder reps, like builder sites, for turn downs of people that want to buy, that don't want to go in non-contingent, and that they're saying they can't qualify them. There's a big opportunity there for sure.
Okay, cool. So real quick, someone just asked for some of your TCAs, and I will try to get some examples of what Jeremy shared. So we'll get some new TCAs and we'll put them down below. But if you're looking at my screen right now, this is the interview I did with Jeremy, where it's called Date the Rate, Marry the House, Divorce the Rent. And like all these interviews, if you go down into the show notes, there's actual links to his interview. So you can click on that and boom, there is an example, with a video of one of Jeremy's. You notice, hey, he's got a rent. He's got an affordability strategy, no seller credit, with seller credit. So, just FYI, you could get that like while you're on this call. Here's another buy down strategy of Jeremy's. Rates aren't, well, I guess they're a little higher than they were in this shot, but
yeah,
not,
those were jumbo loans, for the record, on this particular one.
Okay, so anyway, just for the person that asked that question, there you go. So Jeremy, you're a coach and you've got thousands. I mean, this video is going to get watched thousands of times. So first of all, how many realtors should everybody be calling? Any advice on who they're calling? And then what's the approach? Give us some, your playbook and how you approach the market right now.
Yep. So everyone that you should be calling first and foremost the first month is every single realtor that you closed a transaction with or that referred you last year. So both, that either referred you, even if you didn't close, or that you closed a transaction with. So what I'm doing going back, I always take the second week of January off. I've done it for 5 years. It seems like a great way for me to reset my mind and get rid of the anxiety of I need to go hard right now. So when I get back on Monday, first thing I'm doing is calling every single referral partner realtor that has referred me, whether I've closed business with them or not in the last year. And I'm going to let them know 3 things I like about them. I know this sounds really simple, you guys. Okay. 3 things I like about them. Right. So go back, call everyone. It's the easiest call you're going to make, right? For people that have already referred you, that you have closed or not closed business with in the last 12 months. And call them and let them know what you like about them and that you want to do more with them this year. It's going to be the easiest, biggest uptick in your business, is by continuing momentum with people who obviously already either know you, either like you, either trust you, or all 3. They don't have to be all 3, by the way, but even if it's just one of those, you're going to let them know what you like about them. Find some stuff that you like about them. If you can only come up with one thing, share that one thing. I think that that's extremely important going back. The script is pretty easy, right? Dave, you referred me last year. I know we didn't get a chance to close any transactions, but I want to do more with you this year. Here are 3 things I love about you, right? I love that you're super engaged and you're willing to follow a process. When you refer clients to me, they always respond quickly. That shows that you're saying the right things, right? I love that you always ask for updates as well, even if we're already giving them to you. You're super duper on top of it. And number three is that I noticed with the houses that you did close last year, that you had a great mix of listings and buyers, which means that you're focused on serving people as well as I. That's just a simple script, guys, right? Find things that you like about them, whether it's data driven or whether it's personal, and share it with them, but be clear with them, right? Hey, I want to know, how can we do more transactions together this year? Okay, how can we do more? I see that you did 19 transactions. I did 3 with you. How do we get to 7? You know, what can I be doing differently? Can I be part of the listing presentation process, right? This is a conversation I had with a great realtor partner of mine, Mike, last week, where I was like, hey, I see that you're listing more properties right now. You don't have a lot of buyers. How can I be part of your listing presentation where I can go in and offer some value or special financing, make sure everyone has to get pre-approved or pre-qualified through me? Doesn't mean they have to use me as part of the offer. That way I can weed out any type of not qualified scenario and make sure if you're accepting an offer that it's going to close. So those are scripts that I'm using with people, with realtors that I'm already in relationship with right now, right? So go back, call all those people first.
So tell me, Jeremy, how do you like this? This is we're building this borrower intelligence platform, Sales Boomerang plus Mortgage Coach.
Yeah.
And it's all about turning data into dollars. And so one of the
Yeah.
things that we're doing is that how cool would it be? And guys, you don't need automation to do this. I mean, we are automating this, but what are your thoughts on every time you get a listing, if the machine created 2 TCAs, one which was a realtor for the listing agent, so that oh, listing agent, I want to show you some strategies to help you sell that home. So guys, we're automating that for you. That's part of our roadmap. But let's just say you create a listing TCA showing affordability strategies that can help you sell this home. And what if the other TCA that was created was for the seller of the home? Just assume that the home's going to be 20%, the next home's going to be 100, 200, 20 to 25% more. It did have affordability strategies. It had options. And so now you're going to the agent, you're going to the seller. Seller, I can help you make your next home more affordable. Realtor, I can help you sell this home. What are your thoughts on that? Is that a good idea?
When can I have it? Yes, that is a really, 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 really good idea. And I'm doing that very poorly. I have done it a few times in the last month. And guess what? Yeah, it works great, right? I made one for 813 Reichart. I think that's the address of Mike, same agent I was just talking about, where it was like, had a legal unit in a condo, which is very rare, and that they get rental income of $1,400 a month from that. So I did one, right, for the seller, for any buyer, and for any realtors that are bringing buyers that the listing agent could share that with, where, hey, with the rents that they're getting based on today's market rates, it's the same as them having a 3.25% interest rate if you take the rents into consideration. That's the same idea, right? Getting out there and providing solutions up front for people to take a look at is really, really important. But number one, I'd say call everyone, right? Tell them what you like about them. Do you want to do more with them?
Hey, real quick, Jeremy, I want to throw another idea out there. And guys, this presentation, I'm going to be doing this keynote at a lot of events where I really drill down on, what are the 6 megatrends, like our mission here at Mortgage Coach and Sales Boomerang. And we will be announcing a new company name next month. But it's literally to turn your database into residual income and to help turn the realtor's database into residual income. And so that you become this captain of the wealth team. We're having a lot of luck recruiting insurance agents' database, because insurances don't have all the signals that we have as mortgage professionals, and we can help insurance agents, be more productive. So here's another idea, Jeremy, and again, I know you are data driven, you have your database monitored, but one of the things I love is, what about when we find out that someone in this household graduated from high school or college, and we go and create a house hack analysis. Hey, family member, did you know that you could buy a duplex or a triplex? Or You could buy a house with 3 bedrooms, and you could rent out 3 of those and really help your kid that graduated from high school that's going to college, or help your kid that graduated from college, start house hacking and building wealth with real estate. What are your thoughts on that? Because I think that's the kind of thinking we need to approach the industry going forward. Is we need to create transactions.
Yeah, I agree. So what you're really saying, and what I heard you say, I should say, which is one of my core focuses with Realtor partners, is me generating, more transactions for them, and it's around what you're talking about right now. So every purchase transaction this year, and once again, this is my opinion until stuff really changes, is going to be circumstantial purchase. So what I mean by that is people have when they bought their current house, they have a 3% rate. They had 1 child. They have their 3rd now on the way, and there's no way they can fit in the house anymore. That's circumstantial, right? Kid is going to college. They need to rent out a property for them to lease, essentially an apartment, etc. Hack, buy house for them. Rent is cheaper. Rent out other rooms. Have it pay for a mortgage. That's circumstantial. People getting a divorce. That's circumstantial. People relocating for a new job. That's circumstantial. So there's all these different circumstances that we need to be focused on, which is what you're saying, Dave, is that we need to look for life events and circumstances. They're going to lead people to buy houses, because no one's going to do traditional move ups, honestly. I think it's going to be a very, very, very small percentage for the unforeseeable future, with rates where they're at, et cetera, inventory, you name it. It's going to have to be circumstantial. So we have to be paying more attention to that and providing solutions for those people.
Yeah, no doubt. First time home buyers, I've always called those cause driven, transactions. But I like circumstantial. I do think as rates do come down, because here's 2 things I know for sure, guys. I know for an absolute fact, spring home buying season is coming, and you need to get I'm a data-driven mortgage professional, and I'm going to help my realtors crush spring home buying season, because guys, that's where all the homes sell, and we need to be ready to do it. And I also know rates are going to come down. Like it's not like, oh, they're just going to keep going up. No,
they are. Yeah.
The question is when, how fast,
how much,
how low. And so everything that, Jeremy's talking about, guys, if you want to kill it with realtors, playbook, you have to have these skills. So that's one group of realtors. We got 10 minutes left. Just kind of unpack it. We were going to make a checklist, just like I've got this, I want to show this checklist one more time, because I want you to be able to have a Jeremy Forcier playbook. Oh, actually, that's the wrong one. Let me show. Oh, I had it in full screen mode. But these are the 6 megatrends, guys. Take a picture of this right here. These are the things that I want you to look at your business plan for 2023 and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. How are you executing in these 6 things? But then when it comes to what are you going to do this week? What are you going to do next month? Jeremy, what are the 6 things? I think you've given us 1 or 2, but what are 2, 3, 4 more things that everybody needs to do when it comes to getting after it with realtors?
Yep. So let's talk about data banks for a second. So for me with realtors, it's getting more and more people to understand how great of a tool HomeBot is, for example. That's a big one for me, is to get people engaged on that and realize that will help them engage. Because I think in your article, if I remember it correctly, when I read it, it was annual reviews are great, doing them, et cetera. But what about calling people at the right time? Right? Like whether it's an alert or whether it's someone that is on HomeBot, for example, that clicks on, oh, I would love to know more information about X. They click the button, right? Calling them at the right time is even way more important than ever right now. So I think that getting people involved into HomeBot. Now, my strategy with HomeBot is real simple. Do I want every single realtor on it? No. I want people that want to be in deep relationships with me on it. I have someone on it right now who won't be on it next week, because I'm like, man, you don't even refer me, and I see you do videos with 4 different lenders all the time. You don't even really do that much business. So you're out. right? So it's got to be like a real partnership for me, and being clear on that with them on like, this is what I'm looking for out of it, and this is how I will monitor the database for you. I'm letting them know when they get the alerts, because they just don't pay attention quite as much as we do, right? So I'm letting them know. So I think that that's part of data banking for me. I'm teaching real estate agents, this goes into leadership as well as data banking, on how they need to be calling all of their past clients every single week. And a simple, just go A to Z, first week of the year, or whenever you start, just start with all the A's in your database. This could be leads, pre-approvals, past clients, etc. Anyone with the name that starts with the first letter or last name that starts with A, call all of them. Week 2, B, week 3, C, week, so on and so forth. If you do that throughout the whole year, you'll call every single person in your database twice, right, over the year. So that's just an added value on how to use your database and bank. I'm teaching realtors that, right, on how to do that. And then annual reviews, of course, are extremely important, and showing real estate agents how you do your annual reviews. And make sure that your last question, I know I've given it to you before, Dave, we can repost it. My questions I ask in my annual review is, do you have any other questions about real estate or the real estate market? People answer yes frequently, and get that data back to the agent, right? Show leadership on how you do it, and how partnering with you is going to give them more opportunities is extremely important. Okay. So like high touch, high tech, which is like one of your trends as well. Like for me, I took last year off of social media, kind of like I rarely ever posted on it. And the previous year I did like crazy, because it was just a, yeah, I just wanted to test the theory I had at the end of the day. But this year I'm getting all back into high touch, high tech, right? So I'm doing, Monday motivation, where people, realtors can opt in when they get a video from me, or, as part of a tech, I'm asking them, would you like to be a part of this? So remember, rather than just, I want you guys to really get this, okay? This is actually important. Sometimes I say things and I move on. This is really important. Don't just blindly put realtors on email blasts and text blasts. They hate it. I ask them, you guys, I ask them. They don't like it. They consider it spam. But if you ask them and they say yes, number one, it's a great reason to call. How easy is it to pick up the phone and call and ask them, like, hey, I'm starting this, Monday motivation where it gives a great tip, or Fun Friday, or Wisdom Wednesday. Tag it whatever you want, pick a day, right? Tips, real estate tip Tuesday, whatever you want to do. And then get their buy-in, get their opt-in on the phone, and then include them into that group. So that's something I'm doing. I'm holding accountability groups as well for people that are interested once a week, 8 a.m. Mondays. We have 8 realtors on it right now who are showing up and giving a goal for the week with a consequence, right? A goal for the week and with a consequence. Consequence this week, for example, was if one person fails, because we're all accountable to each other on this group. So if only one person fails, we all have to go do some community service together, right? At the Redwood Empire Food Bank, right? So one fails, we all fail. Consequence, we're going to do something great for the community, which we should probably be doing anyway. So like that's a leadership point that I'm showing as well. I have my video calendar just completely dialed in, going out next week. So every single week there's going to be one one-to-many video for consumer. There's going to be one one-to-many video for realtors. There's going to be 2 posts on Insta and Facebook. And then there's going to be 1 live that I'm doing every single week for the whole year. Of course, I'm still doing the regular videos on my mortgage coach TCAs. It's non-negotiable. And I'm also training my staff to do mortgage coach TCAs for the first time, Dave. I can't believe I waited so long, but I'm training them to do that as well, so they can get comfortable with it and we can leverage it from that standpoint. Creating a whole video room. I invested in some video equipment that was pretty good for the first time ever, right? So that'll be coming like in the next 6 weeks. And by the way, it's not crazy expensive like you guys think. Honestly, I swear, it really, really isn't. For a $5,000 investment, which I know can sound expensive, maybe, for the quality of stuff you're going to get, it's unbelievable. So I'm looking forward to that and really diving into some great video production where I can increase my influence. Other things I'm focused on here, and I'm just going to go down. I have this whole list here, you guys, like in front of me and stuff.
Real quick before you do that, Jeremy, because I want to make sure someone asked me for the presentation And if you want to get the presentation, one of the things I'm doing this year is I want to have the people that get the most value from our community to get the most value. So I will give you those slides. So those slides I've been showing throughout the presentation, but you've got to be part of my mobile club, 949-799-0837. I'm using community.com to do this, and I've got over 1,000 people in here. And this is a push to you. It plays off of what Jeremy just shared, is you've got to get people that want to do business with you into your platform. So I love how Jeremy's using HomeBot. You want to get them into your database that's monitored. You want to get them into your platform. I do recommend this community.com text platform I use, but there's other solutions like this, but you need to get people into your platform, and then you need to use social media, just like I built a YouTube channel. Like, I think every mortgage professional that wants to own their market, wants to be a market leader, Jeremy, you should be putting that content into the Jeremy Forcier YouTube channel.
It will. It's one of my big to-dos. Yeah.
So you should be doing that. Every time you give a quote to someone, you're putting them into your platform, the mortgage coach, advice engine platform. I assume you're already on this, but you want to get them into your private Facebook group, just like we have at Mortgage Coach. Jeremy, I assume you're going to have a Jeremy Forcier Realtor private Facebook group.
I am now. Thanks, Coach. I don't have that on here.
All right, guys. And then last thing, and then Jeremy's just going to riff as long as we'll let him riff. Well, as long as he's willing to riff with ideas. But I'm going to be doing a demo of the individual user version of Mortgage Coach every Friday at, I can't remember if I'm doing 11:30 or 12. Jeremy can't make this one, or excuse me, every Wednesday. So Jeremy won't be here next Wednesday, but the next Wednesday, I'm going to be just 30, 40 minutes, give it a demo. While most of our users are with companies like Cross Country, Jeremy's a great company, but we still want to support individual LOs where their company doesn't have it. So guys, stay tuned for that. Every Wednesday, 11 or 12 o'clock noon, we'll be doing a demo. So Jeremy, what do you got? As long as you want to riff, clear out what you got.
Yep. So I'm just going to give a bunch of stuff here, and then we can come back and do another interview if you want, because I could unpackage all of these.
Why don't you go for 5 minutes? Because I want to be respectful of your time. And then we can schedule another call. And you're going to be on that demo next Wednesday. So, and stay tuned for the link, guys. If you want to get a link to that demo, sign up for that club I told you about.
Yeah, so I'm getting back to doing events. So last year I did a few events, but it was kind of haphazard how I did it. So getting back to do events, right? So two big events per year where I'm inviting, hundreds of people to. One monthly small event, which I define as 5 or more people. Okay, so call it 5 to 10. One for clients and one for realtors. So I'm already planning 2 events every single month, one for realtors, one for clients, and then 2 big events. So that's gonna, that's 26 events, right in itself. So getting back to doing events, some of them will be on Zoom platform, some of them will be in person. Because the market has spread out so much, you have to get good at both. You have to do in person, you have to get good at doing them leveraged here as well with technology. So as far as agents, you said, how many am I calling, et cetera. So I'm going to target 20 new realtor relationships 6 months at a time. So I'm not going to give up on the 20 for 6 months. And then at the end of 6 months, I have a new group of 20 for the next 6 months.
And how many realtors refer business to you right now that you're calling? Like your realtor?
73.
So he's got 73 people. And guys, I did Jeremy's Realtor Playbook last year. So we're not going to answer every question, but he's got 73 that he's doing what he's doing with, and he's trying to add 20 every 6 months. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So my goal for the whole year is to add 20 new realtor relationships that refer me close business, right? So 20 total. So that would be a 50% conversion off the people I'm targeting, right? So that's what I'm looking for. And I think I can do it. I really do. I think I can do it with all these things I'm adding with the motivation. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Like, it's not negotiable. Actually, it's mandatory. It's not a suggestion to myself. So theme days, just making sure I'm following it 100%. I'm happy to send you guys a copy of what the theme days look like and how I'm structuring it. I want to make sure that I get back into joining realtor associations. So this is just a real simple one, like joining your local realtor associations and being part of a board or an event, like helping plan an event for them, etc. Getting really face to face with people again, so that you can get in front of people and show them a more personal side, work ethic side, not just about doing loans. I already went through the video playbook. I'm getting back to mail. So to generate new business for realtors, I've identified 3 neighborhoods where I live, and I am going to start a mail campaign with a QR code for consumer direct business that they should call me if they want to sell their house, not a real estate agent. And it's going to have a video updated every single month with how they can access my home bot. They can plug in their own information there so they can get updates every single month, as well as a tip as to what's going on in the market. So I'm going to create listings and buyers for other realtors and help bring them into the fold. So 3 farms that I'm focused on, QR code, video from me updated every month, where they can also sign up for HomeBot right there. So gathering more people, more resources, so that I can refer more agents close business. That's a really big one for me. Making sure that I'm gifting appropriately. So what I mean by that is really engaging the seller and the listing agent on every transaction. When an offer gets accepted, I have a letter now thanking the seller that's mailed out directly to the seller, thanking them for accepting my offer, ensuring a smooth close. And if they have any questions about their transaction or their future goals with what they're going to do after they sell the home, that I would love to talk to them today. Same goes to the listing agent. Letter goes out to them, thanking them for accepting the offer. My goal is to provide a great, smooth experience. At the end of the transaction, if I've done a great job, I would love to meet with them for 15 minutes to show them how I can help them close more transactions for the rest of the year. So simple stuff like this is really what I'm focused on. Making sure that I'm doing a referral acknowledgement program publicly is a big one for me. So going on Facebook every single month, anyone that referred me in that month gets entered into a drawing for whether it's a Yeti, cooler, iPad, whatever it is, but we're going to do it every single month so that people are getting publicly acknowledged, right? Whether it was a client who referred me, realtor who referred me. Yeah, right. Exactly. Stuff like that, right? Concert tickets, etc. So that's that. I started a book club as well. So book club where people want to read the books with me. We're starting out with Raving Fans, which I've read a ton of times, right? So that is something that's going out to all the agents. Hey, if you're interested in reading this book, I did it with Amplify first, the book, Amplify Your Influence. Now we're moving on. We had 50 people, right? Request the book. So I got 50 books for 50 people, followed up with them on it, etc. Next book is Raving Fans. I provide the book. They provide the feedback. I think that's a great way to stay engaged with people. The 4 agreements will be the next one after. That is
four agreements all time.
Yeah. But by the way, if you haven't read or listened to the 4 agreements, it's the first book I read every year. I have for 8 years in January. Okay, so read it. I'm reading it right now again. It's excellent.
Started today. I do the audiobook, guys, and it literally is better than a therapy session. Like if you just put the audiobook on and listen to it, it gets your brain right. It's everything people need. So guys, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna co-author a LinkedIn article with Jeremy called Jeremy Forcier's Realtor Playbook. You know, we'll take what we heard here. I'll have Jeremy make sure he looks at it. Anything else he wants to add to it, we'll get it added. Jeremy is going to be doing a mortgage coach demo with me, not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday.
Next week. Yeah.
Keep an eye out in the Mortgage Coach Facebook group. We'll have a sign up link. I will also, through community.com, I will communicate with everyone through the Savage Insights Mobile Club. If you want to know how to sign up for any of these things, go to savageinsights.com. That's another thing that I have implemented this year personally to amplify my influence. Like I want to make sure that one, I'm giving more value to anyone that tunes in to our YouTube channel than ever before. And the way I can do that is, one, giving you a text with the micro content, with the goods. Go to savageinsights.com, and anything that I think is super important, like links that are the most important links. And literally I'm updating it daily, so whatever is hottest for you. And then, I've got to, schedule a demo with me. I do this to build a platform. So there'll always be a link for a call to action to schedule time, and there'll always be extraordinary value. And I recommend, guys, this is the way we need to enter the market. This is not just another interest rate pivot. This is a new era in the mortgage industry where you need to help families build wealth and achieve financial freedom. And it's not about moving up. It's about, oh, does that help you achieve financial freedom faster? Oh, does that help you achieve your net worth goals faster? Like if you're just selling rates and fees, guys, winter is here. It's going to be hard to sell rates and fees. But if you sell financial freedom faster, if you sell wealth with real estate through me, guys, that's the North Star going forward. And it's always been a good idea. It's always been a strategic competitive advantage, but it is truly what you need to do if you want to survive in the winter that we're in now. So, Jeremy, any closing thoughts before we wrap it, bro?
No, closing thoughts would be Dave just crushed it. Listen to what he said. And don't forget, what was once a good idea becomes the standard. And that's really what Dave is saying, is that if we don't get in front of it, this is going to be the standard. Before we know it, we're going to blink our eyes, and in 18 months, it's going to be the standard of our industry. You don't want to be behind it, right? You want to be in front of it. So thanks a million, Dave. Happy to get on another call anytime and unpackage any of these strategies, because each strategy could be a 15 to 30 minute talk about how exactly are you doing it. But I got 26 of them written down that I'm going to execute, this year.
Coming at you, bro. You the man. Love you, Jeremy. Take care.
All right, you guys have a great day.
Give Jeremy a heart if you got value from this. That little reactions at the bottom, either, applaud, hearts, he'll take whatever he can get, but hearts are his love language. Take care.
It's true. Bye.